Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show how we are going to create tasks when a new case is created. And in this org, the case object is being used for onboarding new customers. And the onboarding manager would like a series of tasks to be automatically added to the onboarding case upon creation. All right. And in another video, I demonstrated how we would create a bunch of tasks and into a custom field called step. And we're looking at the Salesforce Inspector Reloaded, where we can just quickly report on all those fields. And you can see we have the name of this step, like a welcome call, and then we have some custom information like the type of step it is, if it's required, true or false, and what order we want it to appear. So now that we have all these fields or all these records in the custom step object, then we can start creating our flow for when a task record is created. And then we're going to create a formula that says when the record type equals onboarding. So we have a custom case record type, and you need to get the developer name of that record type. And I think the easiest way to grab that developer name is to also run a quick little query. And in this case, you're going to query record type, name, developer name, ID, and where the S object equals case. So here we see that the developer name for that case object is onboarding. Then we can just add that to our entry condition formula. All right, so once the case is created and the developer name equals onboarding, then it's going to be an after flow. It's an after flow because we're going to be grabbing related objects in order to do this. So it has to be an after flow, meaning the record's going to get created and then this process is going to run. So then we're going to create a get element where we're going to get the records from that step object. So I'm going to get the steps. Select step as the object. Then if you look back at our data that was loaded, we can see we have a custom field called type, and we have two types. We have core onboarding and then billing onboarding. So in theory, we could have different teams using these onboarding objects, and based on what team is going to be working this record, we're going to have different steps for the different teams, and one being onboarding, like their core onboarding tasks versus billing specific tasks. So we need to make sure that our flow is grabbing the type of the type of step that equals the case type, right? So we have a field on the case called case type, and we can see it's a pick list. And if that equals core onboarding, then it's only going to get the core onboarding steps. Now I added a decision element to say, is get steps null? The reason I'm adding this because there is a chance that an onboarding record could get created, but for whatever reason, nobody selected that case type field upon creation. So and if that is null, then the rest of the steps would error out. So we need to create a decision element here that says, hey, if something goofy happened that we weren't expecting, but in theory could happen, we're just going to go ahead and do nothing and end the flow as it is. However, if we get any records, meaning, so the resource is that all the steps from the get steps record, if that is null, then stop it. So if it's not null, if there are records there, then we're going to proceed with the flow. All right, so I added the transform element. And transform elements are still relatively new within the Salesforce ecosystem. Previously, you would have done a loop. And what you would have done is you would have looped your step records and prepared an assignment for each record that's going through the loop. And then at the end of the loop, you're going to create your tasks. You could still do that. It's not the best practice anymore. The best practice would be to use the transform element. But if you're working with an older organization that still has a bunch of loops, it's perfectly fine. Don't fix what ain't broken. So let's take a closer look at the transform element. So if you're new to flow, if you're new to transform, a couple of things you need to think about. When we get steps, it creates a collection of records. And when we update, we're also going to update a collection of records. And here it says it very clearly, collection and collection. And then what we're going to be doing is you pull, let's say, from the step records, the name. Great. The name of the step is, let's say, welcome and kickoff call. We need to create, looking at the wrong one. The name of the step is welcome and kickoff call. So we want to create a task record that has the subject field that matches the name field. And you can see it draws a line from one to the other. So we're going to draw those lines for name, order, right? Because I created a custom field on the task activity record for order and required. And we're just going to drag those and make them match. Because that's one collection to another collection. What gets a little goofy is we want the field, the what ID, and we want the owner ID to be the same for each record. So we need to think about, okay, where is that information going to come from? It's going to come from our triggering record, right? So our triggering record's the case, and we want the owner of the case to be the owner of the task record. But if you just quickly drew a line from one to the other, it's going to say, hey, the case record is a single record. It's not a collection, and you're going to get a goofy error. So after you've added what I'm going to go ahead and do is show you on this. I'm going to delete it. And then what you would say is you would have to pull over, let's say, modified by ID to the owner ID, right? And you'd click the two circles to map them. And obviously that's wrong. We don't want to keep this. But when you click onto the target destination and click that formula field, it'll open up another screen. And you would delete the formula that it pre-populates. And you need to select the field for triggering case and go ahead, type in owner ID. And that, when you have the exclamation point, $ record, that means the triggering record owner ID. So the formula is going to show the same value for each item in the collection. And then you'll see it automatically creates this start element and adds it as a source for you. And then once that start element's added, then you can go ahead and add, I believe I did owner ID, and then the case record ID needs to go to the what ID field, right? So the what ID is like, what is the task related to? And in this case, it's related to a case. Great. So once we've mapped all of our transform elements, then it's going to go to the create task records. And this one's super simple. We're going to create it from a variable. We're going to create multiple records, and you're just going to grab the tasks from the transform steps into tasks. Once you save and activate that flow, then when you are in production and we say create new, right? And we need to select that type because that is on the trigger. The type needs to be onboarding, which it will be. And then we're going to be getting the steps. So we need to make sure that case type matches. And so we're going to see that it's automatically selected that it's going to be an onboarding record type. But let's go ahead and select the core onboarding as the type. And when it gets saved, we see that all of these tasks have been automatically created and attached to the case. And if you click into any of these tasks, you'll see, okay, it's assigned to the case owner. Here's the subject, and then all the other fields, the required and the order are in there. Everything else is left open because we haven't pre-assigned them. And there you go. That's how to create all these records, these task records, when a case is triggered. In another video, I'm going to show how we can see all these tasks and maybe manipulate the tasks using either a list view, or we can create a custom flow screen view to kind of show you these records and allow you to maybe close several at the same time, or maybe we want to reassign certain tasks to certain people.